shows out on Collins. I be.
What's going on, everybody? The Original Mako back with some more Never Return content. But first, be sure to check those links down below. As always, we're getting real close to 1,000 followers on Twitch, and the Patreon still needs some more love. Please check it out. For as little as $3 a month, you can support and get access to plenty of exclusive content, and it would really mean a lot to me, and I would really appreciate it. But that being said, let's get ready to hop into this video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Blacksmith. How you can find them, how you use them, and just kind of all things blacksmith. So, first things first, this little box here, right? You can take your equipment that you're not using, crystals, gems, materials, or well, not some materials, and put them into this little box and hit this salvage button. And for example, let's see what's one of these that I'm not going to use. Like a gem, for example. Like we already have one of these gems. So if we salvage it, boom. All right, it turns into certain materials that we can use. That was not a great example. Apparently it has to be equipment. This is embarrassing. Let's try this then. Let's try these leggings. So we take these leggings, boom, put them in, salvage, yes, and we get equipment crystals and soul stones. Now, equipment crystals can be found in the materials section here. As you can see, I have 7,820 blue, 3,273 purple, and 611 orange equipment crystals. And these are used for one thing and one thing only, and that is at the Blacksmith, which is a place where you can upgrade certain weapons to increase their level. I have a pretty good example of it in my inventory here. This bow, you can see it says level 65 plus 10. I have upgraded it to be 10 levels up on what it normally is. So this is actually technically a level 75 bow. You can do this with equipment. You can do this with gear. You can do this with a lot of different things. And upgrading its level is not the only thing you can do with the Blacksmith. You can also re-roll its perks, re-roll some of its exclusive, I guess, attributes, we'll call them. And I'll give you guys an example of this all when I get to a Blacksmith and can show you the interface, how it works, and all that type of stuff. So I will be back once we find a Blacksmith. All right, welcome back. So here we have found a Blacksmith. Very obviously, this is a Blacksmith. You can tell by the way he's smithing a weapon. But the best way to find them, actually the only way to find them, is to go off of the main path. And what does that mean? So earlier in the game it's going to be a little bit harder to do this because there's not as many directions. But as you get deeper into the floors, the areas are going to start getting bigger and bigger, and there's going to be more and more paths you can take. As you can see, the arrow that points me to the exit for this floor is pointing back this way. Okay, so you have to go on a different path away from that arrow, and you have a chance of finding a Blacksmith on one of those paths. A Blacksmith will never be on the path towards your exit, so it'll always be, you always want to look for different paths to go down. And once you start getting to the floors, upper 70s, 80s, you're gonna find one. You're gonna have a chance to find one pretty much every floor. There's gonna be enough paths to find one. So equipment transformation and equipment decomposition. So let's go for the transformation first here. First thing to note is if you want to transform something, it does have to be off of your body if you want it to be one of these items. Just take it off, put it in your inventory. Let's say I'm a big fan of, I guess these bracers are probably the best gear I have. Let's take off the bracers. So we put the bracers in, and then at the bottom we can see exactly how much everything is going to cost. So on the left, it shows how much of whatever item it is it's going to cost, and then how much you have. So soul stones. It does cost soul stones to upgrade your items, so you're going to hopefully have a lot of those, and you're going to need a lot of those. Equipment crystals blue. Equipment crystal purple, and then equipment crystal orange, because this is an orange piece of gear. Do I have any purple on me? Let me see. No, I don't, so I can't even Maybe it'll work with runes, actually. I don't know if I've ever tried that. We can learn stuff together. So it'll show you, you know, the +1 level that you're going to get. It'll show you all the other item effects you're going to get. You're going to get a little bit more health, a little bit more attack, a slightly higher crit chance, and a little bit more penetration damage. It shows you the exact numbers before you do it, so you can decide if you really want to or not. If you would rather be like, you know what, I think they're okay where they're at right now, but I would like to reset the affix on it, which is the, it shows you which one you have on your current piece of gear. So this one increases reflect damage by 10, and if you have the right amount of things, which I don't currently have enough soul stones, I do have plenty of micro dermabrasion ribbons though, but you'd be able to, as you can see, randomly generate 2 replaceable new affixes. So this one would be gone, and you get 2 new ones to replace it that you could also change in the future. If you want to reset skills, that's for weapons. The weapon skills, like this one has shot and lethal reload. This one has shot and frost reload. You could reset those for so that one takes whetstones and soul stones to reset skills on certain weapons. And then the last one is to reset the slots. So if you have a really, really good rune that you want to use, but you're like, oh man, I really wish I could equip this gear, but it doesn't have the right rune color for me. Boom, you can do one of these and reset the rune slot with energy gear and a lot of soul stones. This is one of the most expensive ones to do, because this is getting into the really nitty-gritty of the min-maxing for each type of build. All of these things, like the energy gear, if we go back to skill, the whetstones, and the... hello? Alright, let's just exit out and then go back in, I suppose. The whetstones and the ribbons, as well as occasionally for strengthening you need some extra stuff. But those 3 things can be found just by killing enemies. They'll drop randomly on the ground, just like other loot will. And that's, if you get enough of those, obviously you can get through. You can have a ton of different chances to reset your affix, skills, and slots as long as you have the soul stones to do so. Now, eventually, at least with weapons, I've never done it with gear, but at weapons, once you upgrade something high enough, like this Frost Ranger is at +10 right now, and I go to strengthen, what's this? Now it takes some of the Lord's Essence. Now these, as you can see, it says break through the equipment enhanced materials and decompose the Lord's materials to obtain. So in order to get Lord's Essences, you have to decompose like any of the Lord's materials that you have. As you can see right now, I have a good amount. I'm trying to turn as many as I can into Lord of the Frost Dragonhorn so I can keep upgrading my special weapon. But I do have some I could spare and probably turn into that stuff. But these specific boss drop items are the things that you can use to get the... What were they called? The Lord's Essence. And eventually you will need that to upgrade your weapons. So it's not all just going to be materials. Eventually you will need this some of this stuff. So if you're planning on upgrading it really high, make sure to keep in mind that you will need some Lord's Essence along the way. Now, yeah, so you can see you can do it with any weapon. You can just reset the slots. I'm kind of tempted to reset some of these slots, but there's no reason to because I'm not really using this bow right now. Now, let's go for the equipment decomposition. So the equipment decomposition is basically if you... It works the exact same as the little box in the corner of the starting room does. This is basically for if you come all this way and you're like, shoot, I don't have this. I don't have enough of this material. Or like for me, I don't have 5 of the Lord's Essence. So I go, okay, let's go for some Death Lord's Crowns and let's just put all 4 in there. Because why not, right? I have a ton of boss items. It's not that big of a deal. So we hit salvage. We go yes, and we get 4 of the Lord's Essence. We might as well do one more to get the full 5. So you get 1 Lord's Essence for each boss item that you convert. And now that means we can go in here. Boom. Gonna get 1 level and 84 more attack, and we can strengthen it. And now that we've jumped over that hurdle, we are back to using soul stones and then equipment crystals. Obviously, it's going to keep increasing the amount you need for each upgrade. I'm actually going to max strengthen this thing. I can only get it up to 12, but that's still pretty good. We're up to 1860. That's not bad. I kind of want to do these bracers once too. These are some really good bracers. But anyways, this is the best way to min-max your build to the possible extent. Now you might be thinking, well, eventually, like, can I just infinitely upgrade something? No, that is not how it works. I will, hopefully I can find it. So yeah, equipment transformation, it tells you here that up to 50 equipment levels can be enhanced. So you can get it up to plus 50, but that's as high as it's going to go. You will not be able to go any higher, but you can still get 50 additional levels on weapons, gear, anything you want, assuming you have enough materials to do so. So it's really nice. Once again, you can, if you find a really good weapon, but you're like, I just wish it had this ability instead of this one, or armor, and you're like, I just wish it had this rune slot instead of this rune slot, you can keep adjusting it until you get that exact perfect piece of armor that you want, or perfect weapon roll that you want. And not to mention, it's really nice that, you know, if you come all this way and you're like, oh no, I forgot to get, you know, I needed a few more materials, or I needed a few more of this, you can get this box and salvage the materials on the go and get some extra stuff along the way. Just a really nice way to help you out with your builds. So the blacksmith is a super important function, a super useful function, and something you're going to want to be going to a lot, especially as you get later in the game, because difficulty definitely does start to amp up, and you're going to need to be, you know, hitting for just a little bit more extra damage, or just making sure this is just the perfect rune for your build, or the perfect affix for your build, right? So the blacksmith is super important and a super useful thing to know how to use and where to go. So that's it for this little guide on the blacksmith. Hopefully it'll help some of you guys out. Let me know if there's any type of other specific things you want me to cover in this game. As always, I'm all ears. But in the meantime, make sure to check the links down below. Like always, thank you guys for the support. I really appreciate it. Hopefully you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. I love your faces, and I will catch you all in the next video.